Hello, everyone. Welcome. We're so glad you joined us for No Quitting the Home Team. Season 3, Episode 4. I'm Renee.
I'm Dave.
I'm Jesse.
Yeah, here we are.
We're back.
We're back.
At it. Yes. Renee, how are you?
I'm good. Why don't you start? I'm gonna be the closer.
You're okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Mm-hmm. I'll get us going then.
Mm-hmm. Be the opener. Be my opening act.
Okay. just a
kidding.
warm up.
Just
a warm up while everyone's getting settled in.
Get the crowd ready.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, that's okay. I can handle that. How am I doing? I feel like it's the step beyond calm before the storm. I feel like maybe last week was calm before the storm. Mm-hmm. This week feels like the storm's coming. Like I feel like the pitter patter of rain. I hear the
barometer
thunder.
You're watching the shoreline.
Yes.
Like you're watching the tide recede.
Yes. It's hasn't hit yet, but it's close. And you can relate that to kind of all areas of life. Home life or school just started last week or 2 days ago for the two youngers, both high schoolers now, a senior, a freshman. Will leaves Sunday for his sophomore year of college. Work-wise, all of like the initiatives for church ministries all begin basically in September, and all the major work to get it done and advertised is all right now. And then, I feel like your work is
crazy.
Is nuts
Good
right
crazy.
now.
Good
yeah,
crazy.
It's good stuff.
Yep.
So, but I'm also not tired. I'm not like, worn out or traumatized by the storm yet. I'm still hopeful and I have a lot of energy, but it's not. But it's right on the cusp of being crazy until Christmas, which is kind of how life is.
You said that to me this week, and that was a little discouraging.
What do you mean?
You said, well, we're just going to start drinking from the water hose till Christmas. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
That feels like a long way away.
It is.
Like to feel overwhelmed until Christmas.
Well, hopefully it's not overwhelmed, but it is like we're conditioned for this, so it's not like we'll hopefully not, run out of gas, but it is a real charge, an extended season of effort until Christmas time. We'll have some breaks. We have fall break.
It's like 3 days.
Yeah.
I think we just need to make sure that we're intentional with the breaks.
Yes.
To
We
do something.
have college football.
Which I'm really excited about. Excited about.
SEC.
Although you did say yesterday, and I don't know if this is your heart, like you protecting your heart, that for you, you're so excited about college
Jesse,
football.
this is going to really upset you. I'm sorry.
And it doesn't matter how well the Sooners do because you're so excited about college football. And I think because it goes so deep with you is because you kind of have to protect yourself from if the Sooners don't do well or if they stumble out of the gate. You can't let that
tank my season.
Yeah,
or tank my enjoyment of it.
Poison the well of college football.
There may be some wisdom in that. I do think too we've been here for a long time.
Yeah.
And we haven't I graduated a long time ago.
Right.
And we haven't really participated physically in Sooner football in a long time.
Right.
So
We talked about going to a CSU game
we
this
did.
fall.
Yep.
Take Ian. That'd be fun.
Yep.
I believe it's next year. It might be the year after that, but OU and Colorado State are playing in Fort Collins.
No.
And you better believe I'm going to be there.
And we might have a student there, potentially. Wouldn't that be fun?
I'll
about
wear
that?
my OU hoodie and my CSU hat.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I'm doing.
Okay.
How about you, Nate?
Well, let's go to Jesse. I'm the closer, remember?
That's right.
Wow.
Middle reliever over here.
I'm living. Yeah, middle reliever is living the mantra of repeating. Things will slow down in a few weeks every week until I die. That's kind of where I'm at. Like, I mean, yeah, it's
So real.
it's a busy couple of weeks, but
so
it'll
real.
slow down, and I just repeat that to
Fault
myself
summits after fault summit.
and over and over. So, yeah. So we are in that last little stretch of the boys being finished with camps, but not being fully back in school. And then we have that really fun thing where we go back Monday, right? But only the third grader. The preschooler doesn't start till Tuesday. And then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are all half days.
Oh my gosh.
So it's like,
What are they
yeah,
thinking?
they're quote unquote back to school, but it's like,
Not really.
they're not.
Yeah.
And it's still very disruptive. It's actually more disruptive to our schedules than if they're just home
Yep.
preventing us
Yep.
from doing any work. Anyway, it's
Yep.
fine. We are excited. They are in the same school for the first time in their lives, and they are thrilled. So we are excited. They are excited. And yeah, and we've got a very busy fall. Like a lot of fun stuff, a lot of like unknown, a lot of scary. It's just a lot. But there's going to be a lot of really high moments in the middle of that. Like we have some of our oldest friends are coming to stay with us for a week. We're going to go run around the mountains. We're going to go to a Gregory Alan Isakov concert. We're going to do all sorts of fun stuff.
Fun.
And yeah, my band is about to start releasing new music, and it's
do have-
all
Hey,
You do
by
have a
the
lot
way,
going on,
cool.
Jesse.
Yeah.
By the way, my oldest son thought he had some insider information about a release that then didn't happen, and so I think he felt like he was an insider, but then he got juked.
keeping him on his toes.
Yeah.
That's right. He needs
Good.
that.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. So yeah, that's how I'm doing. I'm similarly, I'm kind of standing on the shoreline, watching the clouds roll in, expecting heavy rain, and feeling good. Just feeling the breeze right now. So
Nice.
we'll ask me again in 2 weeks.
Okay,
Hey,
we will.
Yes.
Renee,
Nay.
Yes.
much anticipated closer.
It's going to be such a letdown after all of that. I think we scheduled our vacation later this year, and we scheduled it too late. And so we literally came home from our family vacation, and our boys started school. We came home on Saturday, work day Sunday. We had Monday, which
Work day for you Monday.
work day for me Monday, but on
me.
Sunday we realized our boys have no clothes that fit them. So we left from church and went to the Castle Rock outlets because they had no clothes that fit them. And then they started school on Tuesday. So I feel it feels
With no
like
school supplies, but that's okay.
the first time in the history of parenting, I'm the mom that like goes to Target or goes to Office Depot and gets the list and makes them cross the things off the list. No, we didn't do that. We just were like,
We just sent him to school
yeah, go
with a pen and
a backpack and a lunch. They had
and
a great
paper
lunch.
and paper. They did have good lunch.
So I feel like I have whiplash. Like we had such a wonderful week in the mountains. We did, for me, our week, we have a neighbor that is so kind and generous, and I don't think they listen to this podcast, but if they ever do, you guys bless us more than you know, because they let us use their place for nothing. And it's beautiful, and we've kind of learned the things we love to do in Breck. So we bike from Breck to Frisco and back as a family, which is super fun. We go on a long hike. We have little stores we like. We have a good family vacation rhythm there of active. We love the rec center, so we go to the rec center and rest.
Lounge.
Yeah. So coming back from that and then just like jumping in the stream full-fledged I still feel like, oof. That and I'm super excited for a lot of opportunities Will has this year in Boston. And he threw us a little curveball that really like affected my week. So he was supposed to, all summer we we thought his return date was August 23rd, and I booked a ticket. And like in my mom mind, it was like I'm bracing for and emotionally preparing for this date. And then he got this great on-campus job, which will be super fun. Did they have do you know Makerspace? Do you know that whole? Mm-mm. So they didn't have that when I was in college either. But evidently, some college campuses with engineering departments have this facility. It would be like your playground, Jesse. Mm-hmm. They have every piece of equipment you can imagine
to build stuff.
So the 3D printers, welding machines. I mean, I don't even know how to name them all. Like die cast, cutters. I mean, there's hundreds of
sewing machines.
I mean, everything you can imagine. And the Makerspace, the engineering program at Wills College, had a new building erected not very long ago. So they have kind of like state of the art everything. Yep. So their Makerspace is phenomenal. And they hire, 10 students to work as a on-campus job in the Makerspace. And he got it, which he's super excited and will be super fun. But they have a week of orientation because they have to learn all the equipment. So he has a week of orientation. So anyway, a few days ago, he was like, "Hey, I'm going back the 18th instead of the 23rd," and I was just like, "Okay." And Dave started crying.
I know, it was bad
immediately. So it just was
shocked Will.
It did because Dave's not usually the crier.
I just wasn't. I mean, I wasn't prepared.
People in Fellowship Denver think Dave is the crier because he often cries in sermons, but he is not a crier in real life.
At home,
he's not a crier in real life. I'm more of the crier.
Just stone cold.
Yeah.
At home.
Anyway, all that to say, it just was
I cried everything.
It was just like I'm so excited for him, and I don't want him to feel like this opportunity is like making mom sad, but it's kind of sad. Mm-hmm. So, but it's been a few days in, so
yeah, it's not the opportunity; it's the you just lost 5 days that you thought you had.
Switcheroo. In 5 days where the other kids were in school.
Yeah.
So I thought it would just be some really good time with him, but
we're all going out tomorrow night, which will be fun.
Yeah.
Sushi.
We're actually going to go to Postino and then go see the new M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen it?
Not yet.
Have you heard?
I'm saying nothing.
Okay. The reviews are complete opposite. It's either like it's terrible or it's fantastic.
Correct.
So we'll do that tomorrow.
We'll have our opinion. Maybe we'll be hot and cold.
Yeah. Yeah, tomorrow. So that's me. I just feel like I've jumped in the river and I'm a little sad. Yeah. I'm a little sad swimming in the river.
Yeah. All right. Well, Annie, what have we learned so far in marriage?
I still have an interesting relationship with this category. And listeners, I just don't know if we're going to keep it. So give us some feedback.
I like it, and you
Dave's
don't like it.
It just feels like a really hard turn from updates to like really contemplative, just real quick. Mm-hmm. Anyway, this is what I've learned.
That you don't like this segment?
Aside from that,
I think kids, if you're sort of thinking about having kids or single and want a family someday, this applies to you too, Jesse. Do not spend any money on the kids when they're little. Do not, because you don't have to. And in life, and kids get so expensive. Emily, Stam, and I have had this. We're having this ongoing discussion recently. I mean, you can literally put them in the backyard with a stick. We paid $500 once for Will to be in a Lego camp where he sat from 8 to 11 and played with Legos, which is ridiculous. He did that at home. So I feel like we have experienced the escalating expenses of family and kids, and it's a lot.
So what we've learned so far is kind of pace yourself when it comes to spending money on your kids. Is that a right? Am I?
Yeah.
Capturing that?
Obviously, you can't not spend anything on them when they're little.
Right.
But it just seems like.
Hey, I've tried to pull back on orthodontia.
Yeah, now that road's been trod.
I'm happy to cut that line item.
Where would you say that line is, Renee?
Well,
Because like we just sent our 8-year-old to Eagle Lake for the first time.
right. I think Eagle Lake was valuable. It was worth the
But
money.
that's at 8 years old. So
Right.
what?
I think Beckett actually prompted this thought in me because he was talking about how he sees little kids. So Beckett is into clothes now, and like brands and styles, and
The fit.
he's into the fit. And he was commenting how you should never buy those kind of clothes for your little kids
Like a
because they don't care and they don't know.
like a 2-year-old walking around in like
Air Jordans.
Air
Little
Jordans,
Jordans,
yeah.
Yeah. So he was like, just don't spend that. Don't. You're imposing what like your fashion on your kid, and you're making your kid sort of represent you, which is fine if you have extra, like money lying around. But he was saying just, and I think we felt when our kids were little, they have to do this and they have to do that. I would make an exception for Eagle Lake because I think for spiritual formation it was huge for our kids.
Well, you have to pick and choose.
Pick and
what's
choose, yeah.
worth investing in for your kids. And
yeah, like sports leagues when they're younger, like if
like the pre-AAU crazy expensive sports leagues.
No, I'm talking about for instance, and I'm filtering this through the lens of you try to lean into your kids' interests so that they can explore that and know what it's like to want something and try really hard, right? There's a lot of good discipline in that, I think, at a young age. But for Jacob, the kid wanted to play sports from the time he was 2 years old.
Yeah.
His entire life has been moving his body and competing, and that's all he wants to do. So when he was first able to be in a soccer league, he would not let up. And so we put him in, what is a very low stakes, a participation league, not a super competitive travel club. It was you roll in and they practice right beforehand and then they play for, a short amount of time. There's no goalies. It's standard little kid soccer stuff, right?
Yep.
And he was bored within 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And so we've been trying to chase that, like, all right, what's the right level of competition and so on and so forth. But he gets so much out of those leagues, but we probably spend between the multiple sports and equipment and all that stuff, we're probably in for $1,000 a year at this point.
yeah.
And so it's like, yeah, it is money, but it's a thing that he loves.
Yeah.
It's a thing that he thrives in, that helps him build strength and mental fortitude.
Yeah.
And, he thinks of others more than he thinks of himself when he's doing that stuff. So I
would affirm
yeah.
that. I think it's
Okay.
I think it's the pressure to do all of it.
Yeah.
It's the pressure to have him in that league, and then he also needs to be in the competitive basketball league, and he also needs to go to all these camps this summer, and he needs.
Sure.
So I think it's not a wise sort of thoughtful. That's a really thoughtful. Absolutely, we do the same thing, but it's you feel the need to do it all. So they need to be in the expensive art camp, and they need to have the
Yeah.
clothes, and it's all of it.
Yeah.
And
Well, especially when it's like, I want this pair of Jordans. It's like, those are going to fit you for 3 weeks.
right.
Right.
I'm not
right.
spending $100 on a pair of shoes that you're going to wear for 3 weeks or
Right.
destroy in 2 months.
Yeah. Anytime Beckett sees a kid in nice basketball shoes and they're just wearing them like at school or like at the mall or wherever,
Yeah.
he's so deeply offended by that.
Yeah. Same.
And I think we've lost a little bit. Part of this is we've lost a little bit of the, and this is a whole different, another conversation of just go and play. We've lost a little bit of childhood with curated and selected experiences. And I think there is a little bit of a backlash, but I wish we would have just spent less money when they were little because things get very, very expensive.
Yeah. What we've learned so far.
It's not really marriage related, but
It's all right. Well,
it's family related.
valuable.
it's home.
Okay. All right, let's talk about the articles, 2, plural, today.
Dose.
compare, contrast.
With the sound of a jackhammer in the background.
I wonder if they can. Do you think they can hear that?
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
So the articles are spicy and yet deeply related to marriage. And one is a article, it's a Christian article entitled "When You Don't Feel Like Having Sex with Your Spouse" by Lauren Washer.
From the Gospel Coalition.
Gospel
website.
Coalition.
Yep.
Yep. And then the second article, not Christian, called "Concerned About Your Sex Drive. Here's everything you need to know because a normal sex drive doesn't exist," by Emily Valinia. And so we read those articles. The reason why we picked them is because we've always known that sex is disproportionately influential in marriage relationships. So if sex is good and fulfilling in a marriage relationship, then it has disproportional influence in that relationship. So you can actually suck at a lot of other things. But if sex is fulfilling, then it can actually buoy the relationship through.
Cover a multitude of
It kind
other.
of does.
Of deficits.
It kind of does. And in contrast that with, you can actually be great in a lot of things in your relationship. And yet if sex is really struggling, it's really disproportionately influential negatively as well. And it's like, so.
And wouldn't you say we also chose it because you see this conflict often?
Yeah, it's a every marriage, and not just me being a counselor, but our sexuality is a part of our personhood. It's God's made us as sexual people, and so sexual expression and experience is part of the human story. And so when you do life with someone, committed relationship with someone, and the hope and the expectation, and certainly biblically, when we look in Scripture, the desire God has for us in marriage is naked and ashamed, two becoming one, and sex is a huge part of that expression. So, and because we're sinful and broken, often the first and sometimes primary way we experience that brokenness is in our sexuality, in all of its myriad multitude ways in which it can go astray. So I was curious about these articles in particular,
Right.
because
And
they're-
sometimes what we're talking about, this phenomenon, is sometimes called the libido gap.
yes, which last season we read an entire book about that, not necessarily about the libido gap, but about she described it as like the orgasm gap. Like, why is it that there's a huge gap between enjoyment in sex between men and women in general, and then within sort of Christian world as well?
I feel like this is very different. This feels very different than that, though. A libido gap is more desire, interest. It's not like mechanics.
Well, and what that first article outlines is drive versus desire.
Right.
Right. So
Do you want to kind of summarize, or actually, do you want to summarize sort of the gist of the articles before
Yeah.
we kind of,
evaluate.
yes.
In the event that
Pontificate.
people were not able to read along.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
So the Lauren Washer article, that's the Gospel Coalition article, when you don't feel like having sex with your spouse. She basically gives a biblical summary.
Yeah, it felt
of-
like it wasn't well written, and I don't think it wasn't literarily well written. It almost felt like a paper.
Yeah, or like a Bible study.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Here are the points.
Yep.
And
like you're
then-
giving a talk.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what it was initially,
Right.
or maybe it's used in that way. And I think through that lens, it's actually really interesting
Right.
and helpful, because she does highlight a handful of biblical principles about
Do you want me to
sex.
give? Do you want me to? I have them written here.
Give us.
So she basically says 4 things. 1, married sex is a beautiful God-given gift, and it's not just for procreation. 2, we're called to uphold sex within marriage, treasuring it and protecting it. 3, sex in a loving marriage is portrayed as joyful and worthy of celebration. 4, this was an interesting one. Sexual union in some mysterious way increases, instructs, and informs our union with Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Those were her 4 sort of bullet points.
Right, and each one of those has significant biblical support for it.
Yes.
Right. Which she included.
Yeah,
Which she included.
provides.
So, in Proverbs,
Yep.
it talks about just the intoxication of sex between a husband and wife, and that its value is the intoxicant. It is the joy in it, and it helps to it's a gift God gives us to mitigate against the vicissitudes of doing life in a broken world. And so we have it not just because we want to produce offspring,
Yeah.
but God's given it to us as a gift to enjoy.
Right.
And then same with like that last point, which can, I think at times feel a little cringy to think of how is it that sex is a picture or a model of relationship between Christ and the church. Paul doesn't think it's cringy at all. He invites our theological imagination when he refers to that classic biblical passage in Genesis. The two shall become one flesh. And then in Ephesians 5, he says, what I'm saying is a mystery. So he says it's a mystery, but I'm saying this refers to Christ and the church. So I think she describes it well in terms of saying in some way that it's hard to put into words. It is informative. It is sort of a picture sign.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't the thing,
Yep.
but it's a sign that points to something that is true about our soul and our deep longings, and that it is fulfilled ultimately in Christ. So
Yeah.
I think she did a good job kind of
I mean, I think
explaining that.
apart from that one, none of that was like, if you've been around church for any length of time, none of that was like new, or it felt very standard, sort of standard teaching on what you would hear about
Yeah.
sex in a religious setting.
Right.
And maybe that last one was something, kind of a new concept or whatever. And then she kind of pivots to her recommendations, like what to do.
Like that practical application. So what were they?
They were pray about sex, talk about sex, have sex. And I think let's just hold off on discussion
Okay.
until we kind of talk about the other one, and then we can
Great.
delve into those.
So
Unless you have something pressing you want to say about those
no,
right now.
No, I think we can sort of give our assessment
Yep.
in a minute.
Okay.
We'll just hold it.
Yep.
So second article, written by I'm not sure what the writer, kind of, maybe you got this. I don't know what
Her background
her
was.
background is other than being a writer and doing research for this particular article.
Right. And I don't think you mentioned, but it's on a website, a UK website called redonline.co.uk.
Which is highly suspicious.
Which we know we know nothing about its credibility there.
Yeah,
Read
and
online.
I some of the articles it suggests you read
No,
after
it
this
wasn't
article.
suggested. It was just the pop-ups surrounding it. She
don't
didn't.
know.
She didn't have article suggestions.
Well, the red
the Red Online.
UK online
Yes,
or
yes.
whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying, enter your own.
Yeah, it felt a little. It felt like a little more well-researched glamour article.
Yes.
Or something in a
Yeah.
in a
Like
magazine
Vogue,
like
yeah.
or Vogue, but not a little more well-researched than something like that.
Yeah, it wasn't. So
It wasn't as sensational as those publications.
I agree. And basically, she is observing a reality that we've talked about and any married couple deals with, is that there are, of course, differences in desire and want to in sex at times. And she explains a lot of the reasons why that I think were really helpful. Seasons of life, stress. You're in a season that has a ton of stress. You're probably, if you're feeling stressed, you probably don't want to have sex. Unless for certain people, stress is the thing that alleviates stress is sex.
Is the thing
and usually
that-
that's the husband. And,
Right.
but not always. So I do like the kind of observational kind of prowess she had in, hey, when I read it, it's like, oh, this seems true to the experience of a lot of couples.
Yeah. It felt like the first article was from 30,000 feet, and it was very ideological, and it was very, it was a framing article, and this felt very practical.
Yes.
It felt more like boots on the ground, nuts and bolts. These might be the reasons, these are the potential reasons. This is what desire is. This is what desire isn't. So it was a little bit harder to compare them when it was like, the second article wasn't really coming from a frame of reference. You might disagree with that. It was just more facts.
I think they're trying to be as
objective
objective as possible. So they're not like with the Gospel Coalition article, that obviously has a Christian
Right.
kind of evangelical
Right.
worldview and framework. They're not identifying anything in particular. I mean, it's obviously sort of kind of secular. And
What makes you say that? What about it was like secular?
well,
Other than the pop-ups around it.
Well, I can't help but be influenced by that.
No,
let's-
there were solutions that were presented for working things out that I think would probably go against what we would encourage people to participate
Okay,
in.
at the very end.
And in the middle, there's just a lot of masturbation talk. And
Okay.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, okay.
First reference to masturbation, season 3. So
Here we are.
noted. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I get that.
Yeah, that's kind of mentioned. It is mentioned throughout. Now, but the kinds of practical.
Because they talk about what desire is and what it isn't. And
Which I thought was helpful,
Hormone.
like the spontaneous desire
Right.
versus responsive desire.
Yes.
yeah.
So I
It
think
felt
that's
more like a textbook than I thought expected.
Yes.
So that's when you said some of it would go against teachings within Christianity. I was like, well, what
well,
specifically?
it's not. That's where I say it's not explicitly coming. It feels more broader.
Yeah.
So here's a segment. The subtitle here is or the title of this particular segment is, what is a normal sex drive? It's easy to feel insecure about how often you want sex, how frequently you may feel sexy, or the rate at which you experience sexual thoughts or feelings. But there is no rule book. However, based on centuries of the study of sex and sexuality, we do know that certain periods in a person's life will see either a generally increased or decreased appetite or craving for sex. So, and I
That
think
doesn't feel anything.
no, that feels good.
Yeah.
That seems true. And then
Yes.
they talk about hormones, of course, a huge factor, as is seasons of stress, as is
Healthy lifestyle.
A high sex drive is also linked to a healthy body. The better your heart function, the more balanced your endocrine system, and the healthier your circulation and respiratory system, the easier it will be for you to be turned on. So I think that's a probably medically accurate
Broadly
way.
accepted.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Your stamina, ability to orgasm, your recovery time after sex will also be boosted by these factors.
Right. Right.
So I do think that was helpful, and I think that was your sort of immediate impression after reading this is like, oh, this was it felt practical. It felt sort of usable. It wasn't particularly Christian.
Right.
I mean, it's not.
It just
Christian.
didn't feel like anti-Christian or It didn't feel like there was a different worldview behind it, and I maybe those few references, but that didn't feel like the crux of the article.
Yeah.
It felt more like a sociological assessment and with medical, biological realities outlined.
So in that sense, it's kind of like going to a doctor who might not be a Christian.
Yeah,
Who
yeah.
gives you some good advice based on research.
Yeah,
and
totally.
maybe you eat the meat throughout the bones a little bit. Like
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
some stuff in here maybe you don't follow, but
Yeah.
for the most part, pretty decent. Okay.
Yeah.
Which that's largely where I landed reading it. I was like, okay, well, if you're trying to suss out what's going on, maybe implementing external devices is not the best route to figuring that out. But the whole of the discussion around, again, drive versus desire and spontaneous versus responsive, like all of that felt very in line with how we understand the human body to work, and also kind of that holistic link between how your mind and your physical health
Yep.
will also, like, that deeply informs how you are going to be, again, either spontaneous, responsive, whatever. It's going to affect your sexual reality.
Yeah. And they help with certain like troubleshooting issues. Like a lot
Totally.
of people, couples experience issues.
But they
and
didn't.
it's,
They didn't
like,
even recommend going.
painful.
Yeah, totally. But they'd never even recommended going outside of the marriage covenant, which I was surprised.
Right.
So even like recommendations were all sort of within the context of the two of you. So that surprised me.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, do we want to get into synthesis assessment? Or do you
Yeah,
have
let's
any-
go. Well, Renee, let's start with you with the first article with the Gospel Coalition. You had a reaction to it that maybe surprised me a little bit,
Yeah.
and I'd like just to for
Unpack
you to,
that.
Yeah, give it to the people.
First of all, I have to say the views therein may not necessarily represent the views of Fellowship Denver.
If
No,
people
I'd like
don't
to.
know,
No, I'd like to. We've obviously
yeah.
unpacked this, but
We haven't really.
think-
I mean, we briefly talked about
yeah,
it. We haven't
wanted
unpacked
to
it.
save the good stuff for the podcast. So
I think she's off in this way. Her recommendations were pray about sex, talk about sex, and have sex. And I think so often in the Christian life, we take good things and we make them the thing. We make them the primary thing. And when we do that, that thing isn't able to hold the weight of what we put on it. And I think married sex is fantastic. I mean, it's no secret. Like, it's been a great part. It's been one of the best parts of our relationship. But I've never felt like the emphasis she put on, like, I pray about this every day. It was the central thing. And it almost felt like to me, and I have to admit, and we talked about this, reading her bio, she had 4 kids in 4 years.
which for you was a little
No, it just
like a yellow
I just
flag.
brings assumptions to this article for me.
well, and then had 2 more.
Right. But even having 4 kids in 4 years, I know lots of women. I've had children. I know lots of women who've had children. And the only ones I know who, I mean, medically, that's not supposed to happen for 6 to 8 weeks anyway, right? Intercourse isn't supposed to happen after you have a baby for 6 to 8 weeks. And it's exhausting. And when women get back to that quickly and that frequently, it's because they don't want their husband to have an affair on them, or there's a weight of their husband's sexuality on them to keep him chaste. So, like, her reading, she had 4 kids, and it's like no woman in the world I know who's
Which
honest.
she may or may not have had that.
No, she may or may not. She may be very well, like, that may have been a mutual decision that she was super excited about jumping back in at, however many weeks postpartum. I just have personally never known any woman that wanted that frequently, that quickly.
Our
So-
friends that have had like 3 and 4 years, it was like we just want them out of diapers as soon as possible. They're like, we want the diaper phase over
Yeah.
as quickly as possible.
So it was a
That's-
procreative goal. It was kind of a procreative goal, not like a marriage.
It's like we know we want 3 kids.
Yeah.
And I know that I don't want to be changing diapers for a decade, so we're just gonna crank them out as quick as we
Yeah.
can.
Yeah, I get that. I think too, I think talking about sex is great. I think it's a tricky balance, isn't it? Because there is a mystery in your sex life. And if you have an outline, it's like you killed the mood, right? So I think there's a balance with talking about everything. You know what I'm saying? Like
Totally.
you lose a little bit of, I mean, flirting and cues and all of that when it's just like, so honey, let's sit down and talk. You know, it's like you lose a little bit of the mystery in it. So I think that's I do think it's important, and I think it's important as you get older that things are communicated, but then you can like stop talking, like don't talk me to death.
Right. I feel like in Christian world, there was a long season where it was just taboo to
Talk about it
ever
all.
talk about it at
Totally,
all.
totally.
And then there was a hard shift to let's talk about it, and like the more gruff and kind of
Crude.
crass and crude you can
Yeah.
be, kind of the more credit you get, which of course goes totally against how Scripture itself talks about sex.
Yeah.
Like, it uses poetic language. It's very it isn't that open. There's some hiddenness to
No,
it.
it's
And it gets-
subtle. And I think the times when it's the best for us, there's a subtlety in the lead up that
Right.
isn't just like how I would call and talk to my girlfriend.
right.
So that was fine. I think the biggest issue I had with her recommendation is to me it felt like it felt like an importation of, I mean, I grew 90s purity culture into marriage, honestly.
Right.
Because I grew up in the 90s, 80s and 90s when in church youth group, the only thing you had to do to be a good Christian is not have sex until you're married. Like,
True love waits.
yeah, it was the be all end all. And it was, again, this thing was put in a position it's good, but it's not meant to hold the weight. It's not the be end all. And I think a lot of people were harmed by that perspective and teaching. And it seems like, I think she's about our age. It seems like she's just taken that hyper focus on sex. I mean, she even said in the article, when she got married, she just assumed she'd have sex every day for the rest of her life. And I'm like, gosh, sister, like,
Yeah.
like, wow.
That wasn't our expectation. For
No,
sure.
but it seems like she's imported this hyper view and centrality of sex into her marriage, and it still holds too much. It's too much pressure. It doesn't. So her advice is just grin and bear it and do it. And honestly, if the statistics hold true and men have higher sex drives generally than women do, then it just falls on the woman to just suck it up and do it. And I don't think that's healthy. I don't think that produces intimacy. I don't think that produces closeness. I think it produces resentment.
We talked a lot about this last
We
season.
did.
with
Yeah,
a
But I
number
think
of
she
those
just
things.
falls right into that same trope that you hear so often in churches. And I think it's harmful. Like, why not, instead of that, be like, biology's real. And that's what I loved about the second article. And when you understand biology and you understand, like, women, you're going to be in your 40s and it's just going to be all over the place. And so instead of like providing helpful, like because your hormones are all over the place, it's very similar to how you were in your teen years, except it's just longer and more unpredictable.
Right. And
So-
you have more responsibility.
Well, and you can't lay on your bed and cry all day, right? Because you have kids and you have parents and you have so many responsibilities. And instead of leaning into like the reality of biology, it just has felt like this just suck it up and do it. And I was like, that hasn't worked. And that hasn't strengthened marriage. And I think at the end, that's been really harmful to women. And so I was like, I just bristled, I think, at that recommendation at the end.
Right.
And she could have had a like, hey, sometimes just do it for your husband as an aspect of the recommendation. But that wasn't it. It was just like, just do it. Just have sex. And I was like, that's so like uninformed and unhelpful. I mean, taking the second article, you could be like, hey, in your 40s, there's going to be seasons where you think I'm a crazy, amorous 13-year-old, and go for it when that's the case. But you have no idea. And when it's not the case, talk about it. And I'm not a sex therapist, but there's ways within the confines of covenant you can figure it out.
Right.
With each other in the seasons when you are stressed or you do have hormonal changes. And it isn't just do it, wife. And that's what it felt like to me. Mm-hmm. Sorry, that was a long rant.
No, it's good, and I'm glad you expressed that, because I do think the last recommendation, which, I mean, I remember writing our pre-marriage curriculum for the church, and I've done.
Was that your recommendation?
Well,
kind of.
That you have to have reps. Mm-hmm. So the idea isn't just do it, wife. The idea is, in order to get good at anything, and for anything to have a level of mastery or being good at something, you have to do it enough times and learn and adjust, receive feedback. And that's the only way you get better at something. And so if you have a less than great experience in sex and it creates this sort of mental block, and if your expectation is, oh, that was a bad experience, I'm never doing that again, then the next time you do it, you give yourself less and less opportunities to get better at it. And it actually makes it a bigger issue and problem in your head. And then there's a lot of negative feelings. So,
but doesn't that feels like early in a relationship? I think
that's what
when
I'm
there's
saying
a libido gap, it presupposes you've been together for a long time.
Right.
So I think that, yeah, absolutely. I think that's true. But this feels like a different issue. Like there's been a lot of practice at this point. I don't think there's a skill, we're not still on the learning curve in some ways.
Right.
So then in this context, that just do it feels different than maybe in the first 10 years or the first 5 years of a relationship.
The passage that kept coming to mind with this that I thought maybe she was going to go to, but it's a short article, so I'm sure she would eventually, and maybe has somewhere else. But I think of the passage in Peter where it says, where it instructs husbands to live with their wives in an understanding way.
Right.
And it's a really powerful instruction.
Yeah.
Because the point is that husband and wives are different. It's implied that part of that difference is sexuality and probably sex drive and desire and all the things that we're talking about. And the command is that you have to live with and to engage with each other in an understanding way.
Yeah.
Not expecting that my needs and how I like things is going to simply be what my spouse wants. Mm-hmm. But that there's back and forth and there's understanding and appreciation and you learn each other in that. Mm-hmm. This is Ephesians 5.
Right.
You have to learn and understand. Part of love expressed sacrificially is actually learning each other and that we're different and appreciating those differences.
But there was nowhere near the nuance you just articulated in the article.
Right. No, I'm agreeing with you.
In her exhortation, who wins in that? So who win if indeed the libido gap heavily favors men wanting more and women wanting not as much?
Yeah.
Who wins in the exhortation of just do it?
Right. Well, I think that's obvious.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
What's interesting to me, because I hear all of this. If the article had not been written with the headline about, if it weren't about libido gap, I think you would be receiving it very differently.
Yeah, maybe.
Because as I read it, I was thinking, yeah, your sex is going to suck if you don't communicate.
Right.
Like, you have to talk.
Right.
You have to
Right.
talk.
Yeah.
And even if it's just fun, like the next morning being like, hey, remember? Haha,
Yeah.
that was,
Yeah.
remember when that was cool.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
you know, and that's how you can reinforce what you like and what you don't like, whatever. And I think that her point about openness and communication was a thing that a lot of people, and again, this is a thing we talked about last season, that's a thing that people lack so often. It's like your sex is bad because you don't talk about what's working and what's not
Yeah,
working, and
yeah.
you're not curious about that, right? And so communication can make a huge difference there. I really respected that aspect of it. I don't think, even in just rereading her closing argument, like in that third section, I didn't get the well, just suck it up and have sex. I didn't really get that from it at all. I think if anything, it was the first section about like praying to have your desire increased and all of that. That actually felt more along those lines to me than
Even just
the closing.
the title or of the third section was just have sex.
Well, but here's the only reason,
And that
this
feels
is,
coercive to you. I think
and
that
that's
felt coercive, right?
I don't know. Like I said, maybe I brought assumptions about her into the story.
I think there's maybe a little implicit bias, and the only
Yeah.
reason I say that is because there have been seasons where, and this gets actually to a thing that she only, just the briefest of mentions, mental health plays a huge role in this.
For sure.
And there have been seasons where Shell or myself were not in a great mental space, and sometimes to be reminded of how great sex is, you just need to have sex. Mm-hmm, right. And then you're like, oh, right. It like helps you shake the cobwebs loose and be
Yeah.
like, oh, this is so much better than whatever I was doing before we started doing this.
Right.
And so part of me reads that and is like, yeah, I've practically experienced the benefit of like, and again, this is more of the responsive
Yeah. Yeah.
element of it, right? To tie the two articles together. So I did not. Now, people may be hearing this and being like, "Yeah, idiot! It's because you're a guy and you're on the benefiting side of this." To which I would say, you don't know my marriage bed, and ultimately, at the end of the day, it varies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It varies.
I don't think that recommendation is always bad. It should be within lots of other recommendations
Yeah.
too. And when
Yes.
that's the only recommendation, it just feels like it slides into imported purity culture.
Yeah.
Sure.
And
like you see that and you're like, their lives are going to get diminished.
right. And
with
this hasn't been like I don't know how I escaped all of this has not been my experience with purity culture or sex. Like I personally haven't imported and struggled with any of the fallout of a lot of that. I've just seen it. And if it triggers me, who hasn't been directly affected by it, I don't know.
Yeah.
I will say the way I experienced, now again, I didn't necessarily love how it was written, but what I saw it as, start at a higher level and then go like, okay, is this an actual heart issue? Mm-hmm. Is it a physical issue or is it a heart issue? And I do think there's an aspect of like self-reflection and prayer being really helpful in asking God to like meet you in that and go, hey, is this a thing with my body? Is this a thing with my mind? What's going on here?
And
then
I
you
totally agree, but
Well-
it was so emphasized. Like praying as you pray about a lot of things, not like
again,
this
it's
is so
but it's an article on sex.
Right.
And so I think if your assignment is write an article on sex, then that's going to feel like the thing you high center on.
Yeah.
To me, it was like, hey, do the heart level work and see if you can kind of suss out the cause of this, communicate with your spouse, and then test.
Yeah.
Like that's more of how I read it. I didn't read it as nearly as pointed and aggressively prescriptive. But again, like maybe that's the bias that I'm coming in with.
Yeah.
We like what she's saying.
Well, and even beyond that, it felt logical because that's how I approach it. Like it's like the scientific method for me. You observe something,
Yeah.
you make a hypothesis, you test your hypothesis.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like to me.
Yeah.
And
But the other
so,
article was
yeah.
way more scientific.
Agreed.
Because it was for me way more helpful because it was like, hey, drive really is actually nothing but hormones. Like, and so I mean,
So you can't change drive per se, but you can cultivate desire.
totally.
Yes.
So I felt like the second article was way more helpful. And anyway,
Good. Well, hey, this is what we want
right.
by having article talk is to promote discussion and with the hope of actually fostering health in our marriages and our sex lives. Sexuality is a huge part of life together in marriage, and so hopefully for those of you at home that these articles will help promote really important conversations and ultimately more fulfilling marriages that God wants for us.
Yeah. And we'd love to hear your feedback too. We'd love to hear like if you read, they're both very short. It wouldn't take any time to read them. Just curious to see how the juxtaposition of these articles hit you.
Maybe consume the Read Online article in RSS mode, like in reader mode.
Yes.
Good advice.
Good advice.
Hey, a little preview for next week. The article next week is The Mystery of Partner Convergence.
Convergence.
Gosh, hello.
Have you flustered, honey?
Convergence.
Are you flustered? you kind of have that deer in the headlight look a little bit.
Do I?
Kind of.
I'm just moving on.
Okay.
The Mystery of Partner Convergence. Couples' personalities can become more similar over time, but the causes are still enigmatic.
Enigmatic?
Gosh, can't talk. By Faith Hill. And
Faith Hill,
wait,
the
like
country
the
artist?
Faith Hill?
no, I don't think it's her. An Atlantic article. Wow, a lot to look forward to next time, guys. So, but this gets to a fear many people have in getting married is that
Yeah.
you lose your
You lose
individuality.
yourself.
Right. No, I think
Yeah.
it'd be a good discussion.
Yeah, and sometimes that does happen. And is that good? Is that something that God
Yeah,
wants
is
or
it
not?
always a bad thing?
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be a good article.
Yeah. So check that out
All right.
next
On the
week.
Atlantic.
All right. Changing gears. Spouse advice. This is the section where we understanding that sometimes we don't hear what our spouse is saying. We take turns giving the opposite gender advice from a third party. So today it's Dave.
It's me.
Giving all the wives out there spouse advice.
Yes. So here's something, and it's actually my advice is related to some of the insight of this particular segment. So let me give you I'll give the people out there the advice, and then we'll talk about why I think it's powerful.
And it's not the people, it's the wife. It's the
The wives.
women out there.
Yeah. Here's the advice. Wives, when you talk positively about your husbands in public, it does more for them than you can imagine. It's hard. It's probably hard for many of you people out here to know how impactful that is.
Come on, Pastor.
So now I say this because I think at times, Renee,
You're saying I do this?
no, you do this. I don't think you know the impact it has on me when you do this.
Disproportional effect.
When you say something positive about me, and it could be something that isn't like super important, like Dave's actually a good basketball, like his teams play great, and it's like that doesn't really matter, but still you say it, but you're saying it to other people. I'm like, I feel about 10 feet tall. Anyway, you do this from time to time, whether it's me being a good dad or a good husband or whatever the topic may be. When you say something positive about me to other people, it is just, it gives me crazy energy.
That's a good reminder. I mean, I think we all know that, but I think it's a good reminder to think about it intentionally.
And because I think conversely, negative things stick like Velcro.
Yeah.
Like that stuff is hard to get off. That stuff's hard to get off. And we are sort of wired that way. And there's a lot of biological, psychological reasons as to why that's the case. But I do feel like a cleanser of that is public praise. You see this in Proverbs. You see this from time to time in other places, like principles in Scripture about this. But anyway, that's my advice. Say something really positive about your husband in public and see what that does for him.
Good advice.
I mean, we've even talked about this with like your high schoolers, where it's like, if someone compliments the shirt they're wearing, they're like, I only wear green shirts now.
Yeah.
Forever.
And it's like,
Yeah.
hey, those jeans fit kind of weird. It's like, well, I'm never wearing skinny jeans again. And it's like, as you said, it's very sticky, both sides of it.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. All right. Hot and cold, Renee. What do you
Actually, I'm gonna
Oh,
pass
that's-
it to Jesse.
Jesse
So
came
actually,
in.
this morning,
Jesse came in hot.
yeah, this morning I was walking the dogs early,
Thank you, Dave.
and I was listening
Just
to the podcast that we stole this from, and I felt bad because I was like, they have no idea I've directly stole the segment from them, and I was just thinking this morning, I just apologized to them out loud.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I think it's okay.
Again,
It's not like we're receiving money from the.
Well, and what do we say, Renee?
know.
Good artists borrow,
Yes.
great artists steal.
Yes. Okay. So we're gonna, Dave and I were going back and forth, and we just really had nothing.
We're just a lot of
Passionate.
lukewarm over here.
Yeah, there's nothing we were passionately hot or cold about. So.
Or nothing that you're passionately hot or cold about that you want to put out
Yes. Yes, that's it.
into the World Wide Web.
That's actually it.
Yeah.
So we're gonna punt it
I'm
to
on to you.
Jesse.
I'm onto your game. Here. It's a real short, simple thing. I have been
Are you hot or cold?
hot
Hot,
on
okay.
on once a week, one time a week. I should start this by checking my privilege. We own a home in Denver, Colorado. I'm very thankful for that. I love our home. I love what it means for our family. I have been choosing one thing per week. It could be the smallest little thing, but I'm taking one thing per week that is either a minor inconvenience or a thing, like a nagging thing that we've just put up with for a long time. I'm taking one thing a week in our home and improving it. So most recently, the thing, I was like, you know what? If you've ever been to our house, we don't have an ensuite bathroom to our primary bedroom. There is a door that goes to our primary bedroom, but it's a shared hallway bathroom. And the doorknob, like that door was added late. They cut that door in like 50 years after the house was built. They put in the cheapest possible door and fixtures, and the handles, the doorknobs, just fall off all the time. And like, so you'll go to pull the door shut, and the door will like sort of shut, and then you'll just pull the doorknob out of the door. And it was like, all right, well, we found ways to work with it. And eventually I was like, you know what? Ripping this stupid thing out.
The door, the whole door.
No, just the doorknob.
A door.
So I got a new door. So I went and bought a nice like locking Victorian set so the glass knobs match the vintage glass knobs in our house, but it's mortised and has a lock, and it's like, hey, we can lock it from either side now. And I thought, you know what? Our bedroom doesn't have a door with a lock. I'm just going to go ahead and swap that one too. And my wife is about to have a few down weeks, and I thought, you know what would be really nice? If she could lock that door and our boys could not get to her.
Yes.
And she would not get barged in on. She would have her own private space. And so that's an example of a little thing that I've done to improve the overall quality of life in our home. That specifically benefits my wife and myself probably more than it does the boys, but ultimately, that's what I'm hot on. Just a little thing you can do in your home to generally improve your quality of life, even if it's you take an hour on a Saturday to swap out some doorknobs.
Hey, Jesse, I am hot on this with you. And in fact, it's so funny you say that because we started a running list on our dry erase board in our kitchen that has these very things. These
Quibbles.
little tiny, and
And we've done some of them.
and we just mark them off. But every time I pass, I like the idea of one a week. Mm-hmm.
Maybe one a month. I feel a little targeted here.
No,
maybe
why
once.
do you feel targeted?
Well, I'm not really a fix-it guy, and so one
the
a
list
week.
is for both of us.
Yeah. I think once a month, like 12 things a year
Okay.
that would improve our lives. That are
But
like
some of them are little tiny. Like we bought these shams. We got a new bed. This is another. I can't go into this right now. But we have new bedding.
Ain't got time for that.
We have new bedding this spring, and the square shams are not the color they're supposed to be. So I want to dye them black because it would fit within. It would look a lot better than what the color.
But you've done some things to get ready for that
I have
process.
right, but so it's little. That wouldn't take. I mean, that's not like a whole day Saturday. That's like an hour. So some of them are just little. So I want to I have dye shams, and we probably have 15 things on there.
Yeah.
But some of them are marked off.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. I don't feel targeted anymore.
I'm sorry, honey. I wasn't insinuating that you aren't fixing things around the house.
Oh.
Well, on that note,
Thanks for listening, guys. Thanks for listening. We'd love to hear your feedback. We've just babbled on for a long time today. So thanks for sticking with us.
tell us
Yeah.
how much you disagree with all of our perspectives on these articles.
Yes. Read them, read with us, and I hope you have a good week.
Yeah. If you want to email us, dave@fellowshipdenver.org.
Renee@fellowshipdenver.org.
Jesse at fellowshipdenver.org.
Bye,
All right,
everyone.
bye.
Bye.